Hey, welcome to the Steve Davis Show. Special guest today is Steve Jones, the new baseball coach in New Mexico Highlands, and your second attempt at being the head coach. Not attempt, but the second time being at the head coach of New Mexico Highlands. How's that feel?
It feels good. Obviously, yeah, 17 years here. Ended up in 2014, right after we had a trip to the regionals, and then took a position at Texas A&M Texarkana. Started the program from scratch, and recently at LSU Shreveport. And I got to give the plug that we were 59-0 and won the national championship. And then now I'm returning to what I call home. I've been here, a few times now recently, and it just feels like I'm back home.
I got to speak with you at the golf tournament at the foundation raising money, but you were at that point, you were didn't know if you were going to get the job, didn't know where you're at, but it just seemed like you wanted to be here, and that's what I got from that day.
Yeah, no, and it was just a matter of at that point in time of obviously them offering the job, and they did. And like I say, I was very excited about possibility of returning. And I know the program that we had when I was here previously, and I've always been involved in New Mexico Highlands since I left. And I tell people I bleed purple. So the opportunity to come back and return, and obviously thankful to President Wolf and Scott Noble, our new athletic director, and we're hitting the ground running, and just very excited, and it feels very good right now.
Well, from that conversation, I have a good memory. My mind hasn't left me completely yet, but one thing I know that's first thing on your agenda is the baseball field. The grass has got to get in better shape. The field's got to get in better shape. Is that your first priority?
I guess the first priority is you got to get players, but we are addressing the field as we go, and I've already, I was up at 6 this morning doing some things and called some of my friends that are still there in maintenance, the plumbers, everything else, and we're just working on getting everything in place to get it back to where we had it when I left, which was really nice, and we're a lot closer to that now than when I first took the job back in 1997. So I'm excited about it, and I think we're gonna, with the help of a lot of people, are gonna get back on track with, getting it back in good shape and a very nice playable facility.
Well, actually, you're going to be your first day. It starts on Tuesday. Will be your first day officially on the job. But tell me what you've been doing right now. I mean, you've been on the road working.
You want all 18 hours a day, or what do you want to
You
do?
know what? You can give me a Reader's Digest. You don't have to go into. We
Okay.
only have 30. We only have a Reader's Digest Steve Davis show. So
Well, Steve, that is to just hear you say the Reader's Digest version, that fires me up because most young people you tell that to, they got no clue. So, but no, anyway, I mean, it's just really been, just a lot of reaching out to returning players, to players that they had recruited, and finding out who's on board, who isn't. And we've had a great response with that. Most everybody other than a couple guys are returning, and they had entered the portal following the season, and then trying to recruit and stay up with that. And I'm behind on it, and then obviously trying to get our house ready to sell in Texas, and we've got handyman there today, and all kinds of stuff, and then trying to find a place in Las Vegas, and then have communication, with Coach Noble, the athletic director, on, hey, what direction do we need to go here, just trying to, and a lot of things I'm familiar with. So I think it makes the transition easier. But yeah, you name it. I mean, just, start out the day and grind through one thing, then get to another and get to another. And all the time on the road allows me time to call recruits. So that kind of is it in the Reader's Digest version.
Well, it's funny. You've been there, 17 years at New Mexico Highlands previously, and I just got to thinking. I've been at Highlands now for 16 years, so most of those years, I probably got to meet you probably in around 2008, 2009, and it's been fun watching you get the job done at Highlands and see your accomplishments. I mean, it's amazing what you have accomplished at Highlands. Speak on that.
Well, I originally, I took the job in 1997, and they hadn't been in the playoffs or anything like that. So, I hadn't been over 500 since the 80s. And, our first year we were in the conference tournament. Second year, we were a little better in the conference tournament. Third year, we won the conference. And the fourth year, we were a game away from playing to go to the World Series, and in our last 5 years, we were in 5 regionals in a row and hosted a regional at Farmington in 2010, number 1 seed in the region, and out of Las Vegas, New Mexico, and there's not one thing that has showed me that we can't repeat that. I don't have a 3-year timeline. I intend to come in this season and hopefully make a splash right off the bat and get us into contention. I think we're in the right direction with getting players and obviously got to get some pitching along the way. But I think my knowledge of the program and my knowledge of what we can get it to helps speed up the process here moving forward.
I tell you what, we're going to take a little break. We're going to go to the Everguard Roofing Top 10 Plays of the Week and come back and talk about New Mexico Highlands baseball.
So I can assure you that that's the truth. On a bounce to Quinones.
Nice pass.
Back in transition to Cisneros. Mondragon goes in the corner. 5-4. Pulls up. Hits it. And that's it. That's the game. Luciano Mondragon will take a quick break. Fire a 3. It'll count off the window. Junior Hogues off the bench. Sandia will take a 3-point lead in the Another turnover. Here comes Gonzalez. And here comes Asilian in transition. And he punches it home. A chance at a 3-point play. Welcome to the party, Evan Asilian. Benali to go one-on-one here. By 2 defenders. Pass 2 more to the basket. She scooted past 4 Hobbs Eagles. Six, 5, puts it up and in! Adams with some space, got it! Thomas Adams connects!
St. Pius gets it in. Candelaria, can she run the clock out? Arndt with the steal. She shoots. It's in at the line. Liberty Arndt. And she sinks in for the win. For the come from behind win for the El Dorado Eagles.
Seconds, gotta let that one go at half court. Pavia, yes! She drains it! Abby Pavia.
We're all tied up unless a miracle is made here with 2.6.
Plenty of time.
Yeah, 1, 2, let it go.
Espinosa fires, looks good.
Yeah.
It's good! Espinosa with a three-quarter court three.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-9543. Evergard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
Steve Davis Show. We got Steve Jones, the new baseball coach at New Mexico Highlands. And again, congratulations on that. I know that here's the biggest thing is it's home to you. You feel more comfortable. I mean, it's like you've been there. You know the culture. You know everybody there. So has it been a good welcome for you? Or
Oh my gosh!
Or have you even had a chance to even get that far so far?
Yeah, no, I was here, before I saw you at the golf tournament. I came up for a couple days and hit my old places, Charlie's, Bakery Cafe, the Spick, and went in to eat breakfast, and there's 4 or 5 people that I know, and then last night we went to dinner at the Hillcrest, and it was nonstop. People that came in, we're glad you're back, everything like that, so we went into, Dick's the last time around and saw Charlotte there and saw several people I knew. And that's there's a lot to be said for that in Las Vegas. And that's part of that feeling of, just being back in home and the people that helped me previously, and they're all reaching out right now, whatever you need and whatever help we need. And in Texarkana for 10 years, it was a good place, but I always felt like an occupant there. Couldn't go into a restaurant. You might see somebody here or there or whatever, but to come back here and just have those relationships to me is just, so valuable and just makes it all worthwhile to me.
Well, I tell you, at that golf tournament, you were golfing with Ed Monslow. Tell me, what he meant to you. And I mean, you guys go back a long ways.
Yeah, well, Ed was on my original hiring committee way back in '97, and then he matriculated. He went away for a little while, and then came back as somewhere in there. He was a head basketball coach. I always joke because I may have helped him or got him his best player ever in Robert Franklin, a kid that was out of California that I was
trying to get a baseball player.
Well, I was eating dinner at Lassen College, Susanville, and we brought the wrestling coach and we brought the basketball coach. Basketball coach said, I got the player, the state player of the year, and he had nowhere to go. So hooked him up with Ed, and they got him here. So I take credit for that one. And then, he came back as the AD, along with Dr. Freeze as our president. And my gosh, those two were, they helped everything incredibly. We had been good. We had been in the right direction, but once they were in place as administration, we got over the hump, and that's where we go to 5 regionals. We got the field built with, the turf infield and clubhouse and new backstop. And, so you can't even describe how helpful they were, to me. And that's what I'm hoping, with the new administration, that we get going in that right direction, and not only for baseball, but for the entire athletic department, and that's what we're always about. And I'm everybody else's biggest fan too. So hopefully we can all work together and get a lot of sports going in the right direction.
you've been working 18 hours a day, but I kind of on the break, I asked, have you put your staff together? And you said yes. So let's speak on your staff. And as we all know, yours only as good as your staff is. And
Oh yeah, absolutely, and especially at this stage of my career, you need the help, and with the with the things that the younger baseball players are getting a part of in all their academies and things like that. I mean, a lot of their training stuff, everything has changed. So to get some younger staff involved is going to be really helpful. And nothing is set in stone right now. But right now, I've got a former player that was an All-American for me, Antonio Securos, has what would you say, verbally committed to coming in as my pitching guy. He was a hitter, and hit 19 home runs for us one year. But the last 3 years in California, he's been into the pitching stuff. I've got Kelly Morton, longtime friend of mine, and he retired and came down to work for me in Texarkana. He's coming up to volunteer. I've got a former player from New Mexico Highlands that is going to be a student assistant for us, and I'm working on one more guy to add to the staff if I possibly could figure out a way to do it. So we are in good shape with staff, and I just got to get him here.
Well, that's always that. You better get yourself there first, then
Right? Absolutely, absolutely.
Well, and then the other thing is, I'm probably saying the schedule's already been kind of set for you, and so can you speak on that?
Yeah, I can speak on it. There was some schedule in place when I got here, and for whatever reason, it was a very rough schedule. Had 4 weekends open, so we're here in June, where most of your scheduling should be done or should have been done by October, maybe, if not before that. And so I had to fill open weekends with only 9 games remaining. I was on the phone and emailing every contact, which I have a lot, but asking for help, begging, hey, can you include me in this? What can we do to get this weekend filled? And it has come together. And right now we are at a full schedule. I think we ended up with possibly only one open weekend out of it, which isn't a bad thing, because if you do get weather or something like that, maybe you can adjust and find another team at some point in time. So that took a few days to finish, but I feel good about it, and we got it set.
Well, the other one, I just, I'm making your list even bigger, or making you a checklist on everything else. And, hey, the season's here. August 18th, school starts. Speaking about getting players in and what you're having to go through, what you're, having to change a little bit since you hadn't been there for a few years.
Yeah, it's I'm fortunate, and a lot of the success that we've had has been based on my recruiting ties, that I've had forever, and a lot of those guys are still in place. And actually moving to Texas and being in Louisiana has broadened some of those recruiting ties, and so I've been able to touch base with gosh, I got a list of 100 guys right now, recruiting, and I'm behind, but we're talking daily to guys and trying to shore up what I feel like are some needs and stuff like that. And with school right around the corner, in this landscape today with college baseball and a lot of sports, but especially college baseball, unfortunately, the recruiting may not end until the middle of July, 1st of August, because as you know, the transfer portal, everything like that, there's still so much transition going on with players right now, and they're trying to hold it up for the Division I thing, whatever the case might be. So we're not unlike a lot of other people right now, still trying to fill roster spots, and it just makes the transition of them getting in here is going to be late, and I anticipate we'll still be trying to get guys here within the middle of July or third week in July, and then hit trying to, hey, we got to find you a place, we got to do this. But fortunately, with the small school, some of that transition is easier than if you got a lot of deadlines and things like that at the bigger schools.
Well, I tell you what, we're going to take a break and we're going to come back and talk more about New Mexico Highlands baseball.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Got shots? Got shots? Got shots?
During Got Shots, participating providers open their doors for any child who presents for immunizations, regardless of whether they are a patient or whether they have insurance.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All in autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats, and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
We've been trained, conditioned, and rewarded for doing more. But people weren't designed for all that doing. Our bodies need to settle into nothing from time to time. Into nothing at all. In a world obsessed with doing more, we invite you to undo.
Hey, welcome to the Steve Davis Show. Again, we have Steve Jones, New Mexico Highlands, new baseball coach. And Steve, something that, we talk about the warm welcome and everything, but I know you're big on your alumni, and I think that's one thing that you want to get back to is get them back engaged and get them engaged, and also honor what they've done in the past. Speak on that.
Well, and then that has already already started. What I did, when I was here previously, we had every homecoming we would have an alumni game, and we would have alumni back and get them involved and doing as much stuff as we could, and that was not only my guys, that was players that had played here previously to me, so my idea is during homecoming we're going to have a baseball alumni reunion and try to bring back as many baseball alumni as we can. And what kind of alumni game we have out of that, I don't know, because a lot of them are older now, but that still think they can play. But we'll do something, have home run derbies and different things, and maybe tie them into the HU golf tournament if they choose, and we'll have a banquet and things like that. And my idea or my feeling is we'll have over 100 guys in. and then I want to get them connected with the university and the foundation and get the info. And then, we need to have, players from my era, as well as some teams from my era that get into the Hall of Honor. We broke pretty much every record there was here, with several All-Americans and things like that. Some guys that signed pro contracts that have been disconnected with New Mexico Highlands since I left. We've got, 3 or 4 teams that are deserving of being in the Hall of Honor as teams. We won 40 plus games 3 different times, and won the conference in 2000 in my 3rd year here. So just they're all at a later stage of their life. Not late, but they've been disconnected with Highlands, and I want them to. They graduated from here, they played here, and I want to get them reconnected and something that they feel good about with New Mexico Highlands, and Highlands feels good with them.
Well, I tell you, one thing that's different that, and maybe you're not aware, or maybe you are aware, but ProView, we do all your games. We do all the games at New Mexico Highlands. So they will be broadcast and streamed back to Albuquerque, and so if that helps you, to put that on your list to use that as something outside the box to help you communicate. Remember that. So.
Well, I will, and if I remember right, we were doing that when I left, and we had. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we had a huge following because not only our in-state kids, but our out-of-state kids, their parents and stuff were able to get on and live stream and watch. And I want to say that we had a bigger viewing audience than anybody else. I could be wrong, but I feel like that was the case.
Well, here's the good news: the technology's better. I know that was a kind of a frustrating and trying to keep the internet working. I just going back in my memory, but now it's much better and much more consistent, and very seldom does it go down. So that's the good news for you. That way you don't get complaints that we're not getting the games up. But Scott Gladdy will be he's a broadcaster of the year for New Mexico, and he takes a lot of pride. You're going to get to know him really well. So that's exciting for you. So make sure you reach out to him and myself, and whatever we need to help you, do your program. Make sure you get you just give me a call and we'll get it done.
Okay. No, I sure appreciate that. And I get asked that all the time, from parents, that are outside of the area or whatever, hey, are we able to, watch the live streams and stuff like that? I mean, they want to follow their kids, and that's, that we'll have a huge following, if we're able to do that, on game to game basis. So, but yeah, get asked that question all the time.
Well, good. Well, Steve, it's coming to an end. Thanks for taking the time and, taking 30 minutes of your 18-hour day, and you got another 18 hours today since I took 30 minutes of it. So I know you got a wish list there, but hey, thanks for coming on the show.
Oh, you bet, Steve. And anytime, and anytime you need me or whatever, I'll get back to you and do whatever I can for you as well. But I appreciate it, and just try to get the word back out there that, hey, we're back and we're going to get this going in the right direction.
All right. Sounds good. You have a great day.
You too. Thank you.